Next, we have Ken Serino giving us a little history of the park. I'm sorry. Yes, it is. I'm sorry. It's actually Senator Gary Dahl. I'm sorry.
Thank you. Thank you. It's a pleasure to be out here again today on another beautiful day. Several weeks ago, we were over at Illini Park in Marseilles for a gathering like this and had a great turnout there too. You know, if that gate gets closed up there, can you imagine what this out here is going to look like in 2 years, 3 years? And then we get an administration in there that's got some common sense, and we come back and open it up. It's going to cost us 5 times what it's going to cost us to shut it down. It just doesn't make sense. But you know, when we were in Illini Park a couple weeks ago, we kept talking about we got to put pressure on the governor, get him to sign this legislation so we can keep our parks open. Now, we were back in Springfield on the 22nd and 23rd of September and voted unanimously to provide the funding and the mechanism to get the funding into the state parks and for DCFS, human services, alcohol and drug abuse, and all the other things that were needed to keep this state going and to protect our jobs, protect the families, and keep us going here. But you know, I found out in the last few days, this bill is not even on the governor's desk yet. Emil Jones has still got it in his office. That's absolutely ludicrous in my opinion. And we have got a Senate president that hasn't moved this bill on. The excuse I get is that they're trying to negotiate with the governor so he doesn't change it or doesn't use it for something else. You know what, folks? There is no negotiation. These parks need to be kept open. We passed that funding. We passed the mechanism for it to be done. Emil Jones needs to pass it on. It needs to go to the governor. It needs to be signed. And we need to get this done. The idea that the Senate can sit on this for 30 days and then the governor can sit on it for another 60 days is going to be past the deadline of November 30th. And if that happens, we're not going to be happy. I'm not going to be happy, and you folks aren't going to be happy. So I'm asking you today to get back on the phone and call your state senators, every single one of them, and insist that this bill get out of Emil Jones's office, get to the governor's desk, and call the governor, make sure he signs this thing. Let's put pressure on them. Let's get their phone lines so tied up they can't do any other business. This is an absolute travesty, in my opinion, that it's been 12 days that they've had this and it hasn't moved yet. What happened in Washington the other day, the Senate passed the bill, the House passed the next bill, and the President signed it that afternoon. Why can't that happen in the state of Illinois? It needs to happen. We need to get this done. So I'm going to ask you all to put the pressure on my Democratic friends and get this thing out of Emil Jones's office and get it to the governor and get it signed. Thank you all for coming out. And Rachel, you're a breath of breath there. The amount of enthusiasm that she has generated throughout this area just with what she said. And what she said about the Hennepin Park is exactly right. I know people, I've seen pictures of 40-pound catfish that they've taken out of that canal. And there are many, many families that live along that canal that use that for their protein. They use that for their weekly supplement of meat. And we got to keep that open. You know, if one of you had an accident and should happen to spill some kind of a chemical or something into that canal, the EPA would come along and you'd be cleaning up the whole thing. And there'd be a huge fine and you'd have all kinds of problems. This governor wants to go to Rock Falls and turn the valve and shut the water off that goes into the canal and let it go dry and kill everything in there. Kill everything in there. That's just plain wrong. We got to keep these parks open. Thank you very much, everybody, for coming out today.
Thank you, Senator Dahl. Okay, now we will have Ken Serino.